Hello, everyone. Welcome to It's Sybil. I am Sybil Wilkes, and the guys are with me today. Hello, Cameron Riley. How are you?
Doing well. How are you, Sybil?
Doing well on this day. I am extremely happy because the temperatures have subsided about maybe 15 to 20 degrees over the last couple of days. So we're living in comfortable climes these days. And some rain. Not a lot for us. It's just kind of spittle, but it is
Hmm.
not bad at all. How you doing there, Damon?
Doing great. We had a lot of rain here yesterday, and I
Yeah.
didn't appreciate it. And I didn't appreciate the temperature dropping because, I'm gone all summer. And then September, I need those Indian days, as they call them, so I
Right,
can
Indian
experience,
weather. Yeah.
my bike riding and all of that. But yesterday was a bust. This week is kind of bad, but I'm off to Memphis, so we'll see what happens when I get back.
Well, please
Okay.
be careful on the road. We've done a lot of stories about people and airline travel and all that kind of stuff. So be careful out there. Um, it is. I'm going to see what the temperature is. But I was out today and I was like, wow, this is why I love Texas because of days like this. It was sunny. It was not too bad, and you just didn't get out of the car and go, whew.
What does that feel like? A cool 80? Like a mid 80, perhaps?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Getting
Now the
cold feet.
downside of that is that we've had storms and Friday night the power just kept going pop, pop, back on, back off, back on, back off. And
Whoa.
so this
Yeah.
went on for a while and finally I went to sleep.
Ooh.
I turned and said, well, hopefully the air conditioner will stay on and, cool the house down enough that, I won't be miserable if power does go off. When I woke up Saturday morning, um, sure enough, the air conditioner was off. The power was working, but the air conditioner just got tired of the back and forth, back and forth. So, but it wasn't bad because the temperature had cooled down enough so that the house stayed relatively cool. So, and then they finally said, "Yeah, you just it's a new system, but it just just said." No, we're just gonna sit here till you all get it together and decide whether you're gonna be on or off. I guess.
Yeah. Come
Uh,
on, AC.
yeah,
Come on.
really. Come on, don't fail me now. So that's what we've been dealing with here, but it is a blessed relief, I tell you. It really
You
is.
got you got AIAC. It's got a mind of its own, huh?
Okay, okay. You go outside, please. Don't be bad. Don't be mad. Come on. You know, it was like, get away from me. I'm not talking to you. So that is the weather from the warm days and area of Texas. I suspect that the weather will get better for you, Damon, because as you said, Indian summer is coming, and
Hmm.
Yeah, typically it stays nice up until my son's birthday, which is the 21st. And so we would normally have a gathering, on the 21st or around his birthday. And then after that, the bottom would fall out. Like
and then
this,
then the snow comes, right?
yeah, you lose six leaves and then there's a blizzard.
Right, exactly, exactly. Hey, Matt, how are you?
Doing good. How we doing today? Doing good. Doing good. Thank you. Thank you, Damon. Appreciate it. Someone had to handle it for me. Thank you very much.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you very much.
Yeah, we missed that holding the show up there like that. So things are good with you in the ATL.
Yeah, man. Just third grade homework.
Oh, is it kicking your butt?
Some long division going on.
Three times two. So that wasn't math. In addition, he's like 6 plus 0. I'm like, no, no. They have a diagram if you want to follow it. Come on now.
Matt, do you guys still have flashcards? Do kids use flashcards?
Yeah, kids still use flashcards, but the funny thing is now kids got the laptops and they have to go
Uh-huh.
on sites and do their homework. I'm like, how much? Wait, what? They do the worksheets that come home. Oh, and by the way, parents, please have them go on this site and have them do this homework. I'm like,
Wow.
So yeah, they're doing that, and it's just they have one homework where if you get one wrong, they add more problems to the equation.
Oh,
So-
It's
wow.
hell, dude.
So it's like they're supposed to get to like 100,
Uh-huh.
and so there'll be 20 questions to get 100. Now, if they are in 19 and have them all right, and then miss the next one, it adds another question until they can get to 100%.
Wow. You either
Yeah.
do it right or wrong nowadays.
No,
Wow.
well, hey, one night Blake had to go ahead and take a break, and Daddy finished it for him. And I was, nah, fam.
Because we can't be up all night.
We're not gonna be here all night, baby. You've done enough. I got the rest. Let's go ahead and
Dad's got this, son.
Dad's got this. Go on to bed, man. Oh, no, sir.
And the crazy part was Dad was up for another hour.
Hey, Damon, the worst part is like, what do you mean that's wrong? That's it.
Right.
That's the worst
So
feeling in the
you
world.
show me your work.
Yeah, I've got some things wrong. Like, wait, what did it say? Oh,
Right.
oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's the worst.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness, that is too funny. Too
Hey,
funny.
props to you for checking your son's homework, though.
Oh, look
Yeah,
at
Dad.
Woo.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let me
Boy,
tell
oh
you about a
boy.
discovery that I made a couple weeks ago, talking to a mother about her son not wanting to read in class. And so his answer is to listen to books. So that takes away your improving your reading skills. He can
Mhm.
listen and he can recite what he has heard. He doesn't have any trouble with comprehension or anything, but he doesn't like to read. He likes to listen. That just broke my heart, and I was like, "Oh
Yep.
my gosh!"
I'm
And
gonna I
I'm
was
not
Yeah.
I'm not unaccustomed to that because I work with an old dude whose name is J. Anthony Brown, who likes to listen to books as well, but not at 10.
yeah.
You know?
I've had a discussion with some other parents that just think, because our kids kind of came up around the same time of going to like beginning school during the pandemic,
Uh-huh.
and there's a lot of things that are interesting with these kids, with the learning behavior and when it comes to school and things. So my son's first year in school was washed. His kindergarten was completely
Right.
washed away. He was in he was home, he was doing virtual for kindergarten, and then he went in for first grade and, gave us COVID, and and then, second grade. But it's like the process was just different for them. And I just think you're seeing a lot of learning issues with a lot of these kids that came up kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, ADHD, things like that, reading comprehension. It's just there's a lot of stuff going on with these kids coming up right now who had to deal with the pandemic.
Wow, that is a sad effect of it. Absolutely. And I want to do something because I love books and I love to give kids books, but you don't want to force them on and go, no, that's okay. I'll just wait for the tape to come out, or just let it stream and hear it. Because there's something about the power of the word that really strikes me, and I just want to share it with kids. But we'll get on to that. You guys want to talk a little bit about what's going on in the news? We normally take this time to talk about the What You Need to Know newsletter. This is our Monday through Friday newsletter. We would love to have you subscribe. If you go to SybilWilkes.com and give us your name and your email address, we'll have it in your email box every Monday through Friday. This is where we super serve the African American community with our stories by and for African Americans. Khameron is one of our young contributors. He talks about politics. His sister, Quinn Townsend Riley, talks about the LGBTQ plus issues. Coy Malone is our social justice contributor, and Aprilette Russell is our mental health and wellness contributor as well. We have a little bit from our CPA to the stars, Katrina Kraft, talking about your finances, HBCU Corner, as well as a little known Black History fact. I'll give you a birthday shout out if I know your birthday, and a little bit of everything. And so, Khameron, you had a great headline for your story. How single is the presidential candidate and Republican Senator Tim Scott?
He is single as his approval numbers, according to recent polls. Just doing some reporting from the GOP campaign trail. Tim Scott appears to be the winner of the losers bracket, which means that he's just under Nikki Haley in beating everybody else who's really not worth mentioning, but he can't quite beat Nikki Haley. And to make things worse, GOP funders are feeling apprehensive about funding Tim Scott's candidacy because he's a bachelor. There's only been 2 presidents ever to clinch the Oval Office without a wedding band, and it doesn't look like Tim Scott's going to be the 3rd. And so Tim Scott has received just an onslaught of different articles saying that he has a woman problem, saying that it doesn't look good for funders because there's a lot of homophobia on the right, saying that a single man running for president can only mean one thing. And it's not that he's single, it's that he's closeted. And so Tim Scott is saying that he is currently dating a beautiful Christian woman. He is saying that he is a virgin of 30 years. And he is also saying that he will reveal his current girlfriend to the campaign trail soon, which in my opinion is a terrible idea. But that is Tim Scott's race right now.
But they didn't ask you.
Yeah, no, don't do it, bro.
You're not a consultant on this, but
man,
wow.
She's probably asking for a lot of money to come on out during the campaign trail.
Right.
He's like, look, I can put this on my resume. Acting
She may never met him at all in her life, but I'm not sure if there's enough money in the world for some women to be a part of this. And the question is, will she be white or black? Which is,
I think she's black. I think she's black. I'm sorry. I'm hoping that she's black.
No.
Sorry.
No. I think she has to be black. I mean, she had to be black. You think those GOPs in the South wanted to be a white woman?
Well, I don't think they mind. They have in mind Clarence and Jenny.
That's true.
I feel like
Jenny has directed Clarence's
if she was a white woman.
That's true.
I'm sorry, say again, Khameron.
I feel like he just wouldn't be like as eager to reveal her if she was a white woman. I feel like if he had to go find a black woman, he'd be saying, "Yeah, I'm dating someone, and I'll reveal her next November." But no, I think she's black.
I'm just wondering if he's taking her home to his mama's house, who says if she can't use my comb, she's not welcome in my home.
Man.
Don't bring home that chick.
Who is this?
Damon had a great joke growing up about bringing that white girl home, and it's like, that's okay. She'll learn. Learn.
You see her 11 months later with a beige baby in a stroller. Has anybody seen Dante? He has my car, my credit card. Have you seen Dante?
Man. But I have to agree from that post that Cameron did. I have to agree with Tim Scott. Aren't we at a time now where a single man like running for office shouldn't be bothering us as much as it did back in the day? It's 2023 and we're still worried about a politician, being single, especially now where you have more single people, it feels, that are out here, especially men. You have a lot more single men out here. You have a lot more
single women.
Well, yeah, of course, I'm talking about Tim Scott. I'm just talking about Tim
Scott. And you got a lot of single women that are men, so it's a lot.
I mean, it's just
there we go. Yes, Khameron. Great article, baby. Yes. But yeah, it's old. That's old school thing, and we got to be, married with the 2 kids or 2.5 kids. I don't know how you get half a kid in there, but you need to have a 2.5 picket fence and there's the kids. We love daddy. Yeah. All that stuff. Look, you'd rather have Trump with his prisoner. You know what I'm saying? You need to have that. Oh, Melania don't even. She lives on the other side of the building. What are we doing?
And folks have speculated that divorce is already come and gone. She's just there till November.
She's just there
in another
being
state.
held hostage.
Yeah. Good job, Khameron. I think it does generate a lot of discussion, and we'll see what happens. I mean, Will Hurd was a single man until recently, and still people don't know his name. Will Hurd is a black man who is running for the Republican nomination and the presidency from a former congressman from Texas, and raised by an interracial couple. His father is black, his mother is white, I believe, and he, got married under cover of darkness, according to some people. And shortly after he left the Congress and before he decided to run for president. So you can't have two black bachelors. I'm sorry, say again.
It worked for Bill Clinton. He was single and was president.
He sure was.
They weren't married. They were just cohabitating.
Man, that was a business union right there. Okay,
it was an agreement that still works, apparently.
Very much so.
Much to a lot of people's surprise, and others have come and gone, and other couples no longer, but they're still there. One of the other things we talk about in the newsletter, which I find fascinating, is the possibility of an auto worker strike. This guy who is the president, his name is Shawn Fain. He's the president of the United Auto Workers Union. And he has demanded, as a part of their demands, a 46% pay increase over 4 years. Okay, so you think about it, they've offered 9 or 10% each of the companies, the car companies, which averages out to about 10% a year. But he also asked for a restructuring of their pension so that people aren't left out in the cold, as so many businesses have seen, and people who were counting on their pensions to carry them through their latter chapter have fallen apart. And also he is asking for, if you lose your job in the gasoline powered vehicle section, that they find you another position in the battery operated automobile section.
Right.
Yep.
Because that is the direction that we're going. I think it's General Motors said, yeah, we're moving straight ahead on electric powered cars.
Yeah,
but it's a lot different from connecting a hose to connecting a wire.
Yeah, and none of those other parts that that they just kind of look at and go, I don't know what this is for. And
Right.
What's a tailpipe?
What's a tailpipe? I gotta tap out for 1 second. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I'll tell y'all when I come back why.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So
I love it.
So what do you think, you guys? Do you think that a strike will happen? And do you think that in this day of strikes, I mean, we're in the midst of the writers, the actors strikes, and others that have had strikes. Remember, they have averted a strike with UPS workers. This is just the time, and making a big difference is the fact that the heads of these companies, these major corporations, they are being paid handsomely, not only with their regular salary, but their bonuses. And people are tired of this, saying, why is it so hard for us to make a livable wage, if not above our means, our current means, while these people are living 10, 20, sometimes it'll take 100 lifetimes for people to make what their CEOs are making.
Yeah. I mean, for me, like we have, this is just one strike in a series of strikes across some very pivotal industries. And we have a very union friendly president now who is unafraid to step in and encourage these CEOs to listen to the union reps. Also, Black people find themselves in union placement jobs more than any other racial demographic.
Right.
So I only see it as a win for our people. And to all the other Black folks out there, if you got hired somewhere and you are just haphazardly in a union, now's the time to get involved. Because when you find yourselves winning these cases, there could be some fringe benefits in it for you.
Yeah, and you're right. Joe Biden does make a big difference. I wouldn't be surprised if he, pulled everybody into the White House and said, "Come on, let's work this out before the deadline and make some things happen." And scurry around from room to room with cups of Starbucks, making sure everybody's well caffeinated and working on a plan. Yes, sir.
We don't want our president scurrying.
No, not at all. Please. I lose a hip. But what you're saying is right, Sybil. I remember this report and it stuck with me, talking about the amount a CEO made back in the 1960s, and how much the worker made back in the 1960s. And then
what a difference, right?
And you go decade by decade, the worker increased by cents. literally by cents and maybe dollars, while the CEO was climbing by hundreds of thousands of dollars every single decade, to the point where it was like 250,000 is what CEOs were making back in the 50s, to now it's 23 million. That's what the average CEO is making now, is around $23 million a year. And we're talking about the CEOs. I'm not even talking about the COOs and the people underneath them making, tens of millions of dollars as well, while the workers are making $15 to $20 an hour.
Right.
If that. So it's definitely a problem. The strikes also, I think, is a part of the pandemic, because I think you saw so many companies trying to cut and try to fire people because they were trying to cut costs. And another thing is that you're starting to see people try to use AI and try to find different ways of doing things. The workers are like, oh no, we're not having that, and we're gonna try to cut this off before it gets too crazy. And so you're seeing a lot of unions come together and fight back.
Absolutely. We're going to continue this discussion. We have to move on to the question of the day, what's really going on. And I don't know if you all have received calls the way that I have, or text, regarding the jailhouse calls that have become now worldwide, and in the public conversation, if you will, regarding our friend Shirley Strawberry and her husband, who was in prison. And so all of those, well, only because I want to discuss something that is related to that.
Okay.
As a result of these calls, some things were revealed about conversations that Shirley was having with her husband about her boss and his wife. And so somebody felt compelled for her to come out and make a public apology this week on their radio show. And so what became this public apology, she was the focus of the Strawberry Letter. And so no matter what you feel about this has nothing to do with how it happened, what was said, and all of that. It has to do with making apologies. Is that difficult for you? And because some people just can't apologize, they refuse to admit a wrong. And so that is one thing. And the second thing is there someone that you feel you deserve a public apology from, or perhaps that you should give a public apology to?
Well, apologies have never been a problem for me.
What can I just say? Boy, the lips got real tight.
Look, I'm gonna get in and out of this real quick.
Okay.
Apologizing has never been a problem with me. Look, my fault. I apologize when it's not my fault. Why? Just to
move on.
Move on. So I will apologize with a quickness, whether I mean it or not. I'm going to apologize. Do I feel like do I owe anybody a public apology? Probably not. I have said some things on the air that have made some people upset, but we had to apologize to R. Kelly on the air once, because I laughed at the fact that again, I was on a Christian gospel radio station, and I laughed at the fact that he couldn't read the Bible because his lawyer. They said they had the Bible in the
was it upside down like a former president?
Yeah, there was he said, he has the Bible in his jail cell, but he can't read it. And I just thought that it was funny, and I had a moment on the air, and then the next day I had to apologize to R. Kelly for laughing at his.
Did you ever have a moment like, oh heck no, I'm not apologizing?
Yeah, R. Kelly, but yeah, they convinced me.
Sure.
Here's your job. Here's unemployment.
They convinced me to apologize, but it was one of those things where I'm just like, okay. But yeah, so being on the radio, being in a public eye like that, you sometimes slip of the tongue, you might have to apologize. But outside of that, no, I just keep it rolling.
Got it. Yolanda, we're also taking people's, if they want to dive into this and give us theirs. Is there someone you feel you owe a public apology to, or someone who you would like to receive you feel as though you should get a public apology from, if I can have that dangling participle there. Khameron, what about you? You live in a house full, you grew up in a house full of women.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah.
was
So
was apologizing a part of your growing up?
I mean, I've learned to apologize really well. I've also learned to accept apologies that I don't receive really well, and
Oh,
just keep
interesting.
it moving. Yeah, I mean that's just like a part of my life. You got to accept the apology that you don't receive. Um, my I feel like my generation's threshold of apologies has just like drastically increased. Like there are some
Hmm.
people when you apologize, they expect you to hear you be accountable for the behavior, for the emotions received. There's this whole dimension of apologies now called intent versus impact,
Right.
where you might have intended to do one thing, but you have to be accountable for the impact that was received. Apologies have entered a whole new dimension,
That's true.
um, that there is a certain camp of people that are just like, yeah, forget all that. You're lucky I'm even here listening to you right now.
Right.
But I try to apologize and just be accountable, for the sake of maintaining friendships, for just the sake of just being respectable and accountable. But a large part of my life is just accepting the apology that you don't receive.
Wow. The one I can't receive, Khameron, is when someone will say, "I'm sorry if you feel that I did
Yeah,
something to
yeah,
hurt
that's
you."
yeah, that's
That
the
that's
worst.
not an apology to me.
No, it's
Yeah,
not at
No.
all.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
But
just
it's used all the
all the
time.
time now.
All the
Yeah.
time they use
Yeah.
that. I'm like, that's the worst. Your PR person needs to be fired.
Right. Yeah, but you can't tell that to a generation, as Khameron said, a generation of people who find it difficult enough to perhaps give apologies, let alone accept or their need to accept it as opposed to give them. All right,
Hmm.
stage one, Damon Williams. What do you think?
Well, I don't have a problem apologizing. I think I did get a semi-public apology from this one particular comedian that was trying to besmirch my character
Hmm.
on his podcast, and we kind of squashed that. I won't say any names because I don't want to dig it back up. But I would like to publicly apologize to anybody that came to TNT Comedy Hook early in my career because I was the host every Sunday and the same people came every week. So there was no using my material. So I just roasted people a lot. So I have grown men come up, man, I remember the time I came to your show and you tore me apart. And I get so I mean I feel so bad because they older now, right? So
Right, right, and they're
it
still
was
in their feelings.
man, older dude. This man was gray haired. Just this Saturday at Riddles, he came and said, "Yeah, because you let me have it about my hat, about my shirt, about my suit." But that was just the type of room it was. So anybody that ever got it and caught it early in my career at TNT Comedy Hook, I humbly apologize.
Wow,
That's
that
it.
is never, but never on a personal level. That is not.
I keep my
Just
personal, Civil.
all right, player. I think it's commendable that because a lot of people they never admit it, Damon. But I have found spending a number of nights in a comedy club that people like to be in front. They like to be picked on. They like the attention, and then and as if that is an opening door for them to engage in some sort of conversation or relationship with comedians.
Yeah, and a lot of those people actually want to do comedy or they're curious about it.
Okay.
And and now I only engage people if it's provoked or if it's lighthearted. But back then, it was roast. It was the '90s, so
Right.
you could catch it. So
And it's a different day
nowadays, people
today.
now you got to watch it because people running up on stage and throwing stuff at artists and all that. So you just trying to lead them people alone at this point. But to
And
any of
throwing a
those
punch,
people,
not just throwing a drink, but throwing up,
yeah,
coming up on stage and really wanting to do
yeah,
some damage
any
to
of
them.
those guys, the next time you see me, you ain't got to walk up and say, "Man, I never forget that time you." I'm sorry already.
Whoa, I got you, player. I'm sorry.
My bad. And I was on a date, man. That girl didn't even give me none because of that, man. I promise you.
Well, I'm sure your wife appreciated that.
Yeah.
Sorry. No. Um, that's very funny. Do you guys remember like as having to, as a child yourself, or having to, in your case, Damon and Med, with your own children, explaining to them why they needed to apologize, or something like that? And Khameron, this is true for like your young and cousins and what have you. Have you ever had that discussion, like, well, why should I, what do you mean? And having to explain that it's just nice
Children
sometimes.
politics is very difficult to maneuver.
Yeah.
Just dealing with Blake and his friends, and them, they're all boys, and they're, going back and forth, and I've had to get in the middle of, and again, I'm getting in the middle of other people's children, you know what I'm saying, here as well. And it's just like, look, guys, apologize, shake hands. Well, he did this, just apologize, shake hands. He's like, at this point in time, you got to, move past certain things, understand what, triggers certain people. Because what I find out, especially with these young boys, if one boy says, I don't like this, that automatically it gives the other kids kind of a right to, well, we know what his button is. Let's push it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, if he doesn't like this, don't do this. Right. If you do it, apologize for it. But then if you do it again, it doesn't, you know what I'm saying? The child politics, because as an adult, we've been through it. We can live it. It's easy to talk things out. When you're dealing with children, it's like, especially kids that you didn't raise, and it's very difficult to break that down and make it make sense to them. I just like, look, so you don't fight, just keep your hands to yourself. Right. And if
I've been in a place where kids, parent will say you're sorry. And he'll say, for what?
Exactly.
Yeah.
He goes, I'm not sorry though. So
right. He told me not to lie.
Yeah.
Doesn't even get into that, okay?
It's a whole nother problem, right?
Yeah, kids are convicted when they don't feel like they're wrong. They will stand in their lane. I had one situation like where my son had done something, and I needed him to apologize, maybe to his mother, and he's like, "But I didn't, Dad. I promise you, I didn't." I'm like, "Yeah, but for both of our sakes, please." So, because if you don't apologize, you're gonna send me back in here and make me whoop you. You know I don't want to hit you, son. Just say you're sorry. We'll talk about it later. But yeah, that was one occasion as far as the child is concerned. But like you say, kids, when they feel like they're not in the wrong, they stand on that.
Yeah, they stand on that principle there. Khameron, we're going to get a comment from you on that. We do have people who do have comments to make. Charlotte Bowen Bellamy on Facebook said, I never had a problem with apologizing, but I am due for an apology and have not received it yet. But I moved on, and I believe in moving on. But your memory is still good, isn't it, Charlotte?
I was like, matter of fact, thank you, Sybil.
Thanks for reminding me. Thanks a lot. Yeah. If I did something, Charlotte, I apologize. I'm sorry, Damon, say that again.
I said you've clearly moved on when you text a whole paragraph into a bunch of strangers on the show.
With the question and the fact that, right. Carolyn Jones Jameson on Facebook said people will apologize, but rarely do they try to make it right. And to me, that's part of the apology, because it's one thing to say it, but your actions
gotta make amends.
Are another. Yeah, absolutely. What about you, Khameron, and dealing with your young relatives in a situation like that? Have you had that?
Getting my younger relatives to understand. I mean, I come from a family of church people, and so just understanding the concept of doing unto others, thankfully, is ingrained in the Townsend family line. I haven't really had to intervene in anyone just being too rambunctious or obnoxious. But the whole making amends is a hurdle for some.
Right.
Yeah.
It really
even
is.
just saying you're sorry is a hurdle enough.
Right. Yolanda, if we have any more, we can close this out. And if we have any more comments, I'd like to share them. Artheta Wilson on Facebook. Sorry. I don't encourage children to apologize immediately because it's meaningless. I get them to say, what a better way to do or to handle things. What would have been a better choice? Acknowledge the issue. And that's from a preschool teacher. That's
good.
Advice too. Yeah.
That's good, because I sure will say apologize and come on. Apologize. Come on, let's go. I don't got time to talk to you about all that. Apologize and let's go. But she's right.
Daddy's on the clock.
Come on, let's go. No, but she's right, because if you have time to talk them through the process of, what did you do? Was that nice? Do you think they deserve an apology? No. Do you think they deserve an apology? Okay, you know what I'm saying? If you have time, then it's really good to break down the process. And the younger they are, the quicker you got to do it. Because if you wait too long, we'll talk about it when we get home, then forget that they did anything wrong in the first place.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
I was like, so you have to attack it as it happens.
Yeah, absolutely, because we will forget. Absolutely.
That
is and just to close out, I really hope that that Shirley and Steve have come to a place where they are reconciled, and that they go on to make great radio and continue to do that as they have done over these many years.
Yeah.
Sorry to see that it came to this, and having to bring family business out to the public like this. But it is my hope that they have both accepted what has happened, that Steve has accepted Shirley's apology, and that they move on. And as I said, continue to make great radio, because they are professionals who deserve that. All right, gentlemen, let us move on to trending news. The CDC has come out today and is recommending updated COVID-19 vaccinations for everyone 6 months and older to better protect you and your loved ones. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention recommended that all Americans ages 6 months and older receive that updated vaccines from Pfizer and or from Moderna. You pick. The first doses of the new shots will be available at some locations within the next 48 hours, according to the CDC. We've discussed whether people are going to get the booster or not. This is a whole new vaccination. I think I see the the shaking of the head.
It's a wrap. I'm telling you this right now. We've talked about this. We brought it up. I know, like Sybil, I understand. If people feel like masking up, mask up. I get it. We're not going back to that.
Yeah.
I look, like I said, once death came off the table of being a fear, it's done.
But what if they say these variants are that much more dangerous than when they
people are not going to buy it? Because I talked to a friend recently, and he's like, these pharma companies are probably losing a lot of money over the last couple of years. Like, they were making a buku amount of money
from the government
during the pandemic, and now the government's not paying for them anymore. So, like, what are we doing? So there's people right now thinking that they got shammed during, like, let me clear this up. The COVID is real. COVID is real. I had it. Never want that, I never want to deal with what I had to deal with to go through that again. It's a real thing. But I think that people don't want to go through what we went through for those 2 years of shutting down this country, because now you're seeing the effect of what those 2 years did to us. That those 2 years, people lost businesses, they lost family, they lost everything during those 2 years, and have not been able to recoup. And so they'll say, I'd rather be sick than broke. You know what I'm saying? So, they don't want to go through this again, and they feel like this country kind of shamed them a little bit by forcing them to get the vaccine, by making these mandates happen. Even the most liberal people are saying, yeah, this ain't gonna happen. So, do I believe that the COVID is still going to be around? Yes. Again, once that fear of death kind of went away, I think trying to get mandates back is not happening. It's not happening.
What if they said, we can get rid of this in 2 weeks if everybody just stays inside?
Oh no, they're never going to believe that. That's what they said in the pandemic.
Well, but we know that if you don't have contact with other people, then the possibility of stopping it is greater.
Only
tried that already.
Only if it comes with money.
People weren't dedicated to it.
But they're not going to get them. They're not going to dedicate them now. We know it's not going to happen.
I'm living in La La Land.
I know.
Yes, Damon, I'm sorry.
I said only if it comes with money. If they put their check back out there, the people who go for the whole COVID situation. But even though now people are going to be scared because they're seeing all these indictments for the fake PPP. So even the checks, Yeah, they'd have to do a stimulus with the needle. Here's your check.
Here we go. Come on,
But guess
come
what?
on.
Do people even remember that 1,200 that they got?
No.
People don't
Some
remember
do.
12.
The ones that had no hundreds did.
Right.
Right.
But I'm just saying,
Right.
like, now when you look back at it, it helped us right then at 1,200. But it was like, okay, now what? You know, then that
Right.
was the feeling after the
Where's the
stimulus.
next?
It's like, okay, what's the next one? And then you had to wait like another 6-7 months for another $1,200. So it was just like, you know, it was it was a mess. When you look back at the whole thing, the whole thing was just a mess of how it was handled, how it was dealt with. You know, when you're throwing things out there, you have these public officials talking about the situation, and they really don't know what the answers are because they didn't have the answers, and they didn't feel like it was okay for them not to have the answers. It was okay for them not to have the answers, and instead of making everyone feel like the government don't know what they're talking about. You know what I'm saying? That's what it ended up looking like, and you lost faith. Dr. Fauci, poor guy. No one believes in it. Like, that man talks. Oh God, Dr. Fauci. Like
now, you know, he comes back and he's trying to make amends with people. And like, dude, you know,
they don't want to mess with him.
No, sorry. It's like a bad boyfriend. Don't come back here. Jussie Smollett was back in court today to listen to his lawyers appeal the punishment for his crime. The lawyers told the Illinois Appellate Court it should toss the former actor's convictions for staging a racist, homophobic attack against himself 3 years ago and then lying about it to Chicago police, arguing that anger over the case led to properly dismissed charges being improperly restored. The 41-year-old actor sat there and listened to the hour-long oral arguments and leaning in to follow the debate before the 3-judge panel. And they said public outrage against the defendant cannot overrule the rule of law, referring to how public perception of Smollett turned after police said he created a crime and wasn't a victim of one. They said many of the issues surrounding the appeal and Smollett's prosecution boiled down to the question, is it fair? Well, it may not be fair, but my mom always told me life isn't fair. So I don't, you know, and I don't know what the judges are going to say, how they're going to respond to it. But he's trying to get out of this, you know, these 150 days. He's already done 6 days. So it's like, what are you doing? Well, just go quietly away. Just go away. I don't know. What do you guys think
he's already
about
lost everything. He's never going to work
Yeah,
again.
and now he's
in this
got
industry.
more lawyers' fees.
Yeah, so he should just do his. I mean, his very extremely lenient privilege time.
Yeah,
You know, for the scope of the heinous acts that he committed, he should really just go quietly. It's
he
a
really
shame.
should just go quiet into that good night. What do you guys think?
He's got his
Ned?
sister paying his lawyer fees from like her Lovecraft Country money. Like, it's
Yeah,
sad.
which has got to be dwindling because they've been on strike for now all these months.
Yeah.
Right.
She got a new movie coming out with Jamie Foxx on Hulu or no on Prime. Though I just saw that. But look, man, I get it. You know, he feels like he's been done wrong. He's holding on to this, you know, this story for, you know, for all that he can. But
talk about somebody that don't know how to say they're sorry.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
He can't. Yeah. He wants to even hold it to his grave that he, you know, that it wasn't made up, that this whole thing happened for real. And I think once he realizes that, you know, probably until he apologizes for real, he ain't gonna work. It's done.
Wow. Yeah, but if you locked up, you just want to go to court just to get out the jail. So I'll keep filing appeals too. You get to ride in the van and, you know, see outside.
We outside. I want him just to go quietly away. I know he's trying to save his good name, but I think that's beyond him. He can only let his actions, not those of his attorneys, do the work for him. And I don't think, you know, putting good money after good sister's money is going to do it. I just don't I just don't believe that.
Oh.
Anybody watch the game when the gazillion-dollar quarterback made good on his promise to take his team nowhere?
4 snaps, baby. Man, that's tough.
And the fifth was the difference there. And so now all the conversation is, all that good money that, and however much of it is guaranteed for Aaron Rodgers. And now the chorus is loud and clear and led by Jamel Hill said, there's a quarterback right there in New Jersey who took a team to a Super Bowl and an NFC championship. Rhymes with Kaepernick.
Look.
It's not likely to happen, but I like it.
Yeah, I hear it because Sybil will start watching football again if he can get if Kaepernick gets a job in the NFL.
I think that ship is sailed on Cap, but they say when you're on Hard Knocks, it's a jinx. It's sort of like being on the cover of Madden, football game. Yep. Something happens, and when you get on that Hard Knocks, but he was gone so quick. He was gone by the time I changed to the game. Like, I was like, what?
I changed rooms, and I'm like, why is Zach Wilson in? How long the game been on? What's going on?
Right,
man.
Right.
That's crazy.
His Achilles tendon took him out, and and now that was their fear, and it was founded, and so he's gonna be out for the rest of the season.
And now the execs in the front office at Green Bay look like super geniuses to get him out of there for whatever reason, and and their quarterback did a great job against our Bears this week.
Yeah. Once again, the quarterbacks, the Green Bay Packers own the Chicago Bears. Yeah. They demonstrated that. Yeah. And I didn't even see the game, but
But you heard about it. I know that.
Oh my gosh!
I also heard it was pretty bad.
I watched, but I didn't see a game.
Right. Jeez.
Beautiful. There is a rumor of sorts. I'm not sure if it's true that Kaepernick's manager or agent has reached out to the Jets. I'm not sure what their response is.
Yes.
He has. Okay.
Yes. Interesting. Yes. The coach of the Jets, I believe, was on the coaching staff of the 49ers when Kaepernick played for the 49ers. Salah, I believe, was a defensive coordinator. He might have been. I don't, don't quote me on that, but I know he came from San Francisco. I don't know if they were together at the same time. So that is a connection there that if Salah had a good relationship, I could see something happening, but there's other quarterbacks that could possibly get that have played more recently.
Don't be surprised if Tom Brady don't end up in a Jets uniform.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'd be surprised. I would be surprised. I'd be surprised because Tampa Bay might still own his rights. So you never know. You just never know.
Cam, is this interesting at all to you?
I got so a friend of mine who follows football, who follows Bears ball specifically, was texting me about the game, and I was texting him. I was like, "Hey, quick, share some highlights or some lowlights with me because they're probably going to talk about it on the show on Tuesday."
So there's a whole pages and pages of lowlights.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for Cameron. How about that Fields guy? Mm-hmm. How about him?
What's his name?
That Fields guy. How about him?
Football Fields. That guy.
Right.
Okay. So check this out. Jim Trotter, you may know him as a longtime reporter and columnist who worked for the NFL Network for 5 years, is suing the NFL, claiming his contract was not renewed after he pressed Roger Goodell on the league's hiring practices when it comes to minorities. He said he was let go by the National Football League because he challenged the commissioner and others regarding the record of race discrimination and lack of diversity, according to the complaint. On several occasions, Trotter, an employee of the NFL's owned NFL Network, publicly grilled Goodell on the lack of Black execs within the league and teams, including during a nationally televised interview during the week leading up to Super Bowl 2023. Trotter says all indications are that he would receive a new contract in the spring. His deal was expiring. However, Late March, his deal was not renewed and he is out of a job. So he's taking them to court. And he's also bringing in some of the owners, including
Yeah.
Jerry Jones,
Uh-huh.
because of an alleged conversation he had back in August of 2020 when the reporter asked the Cowboys owner about the league's hiring practices when it came to black executives. And he said if blacks feel some kind of way, they should buy their own team and hire who they want to hire. That's what Trotter claims. I'm not
Allegedly.
surprised at that. Say that again.
No, I said allegedly.
Allegedly. Yeah.
I love Jim Trotter, and I've been following this since he was. When I tell you every Super Bowl, Jim Trotter asked that question,
Right.
And he was an employee of the NFL,
Yeah,
working
which
within
takes
the
a
NFL.
lot of.
Oh yeah, he was doing this, and every single time Rodgers like, "We'll look into it," da 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 da, yada yada. Then when he was supposed to be his new contract came up, they let him go. Jim Trotter is one of the best NFL reporters that there is.
Right.
And so when he got fired, he talked about it briefly. I'm like, he must have a book or something coming out because he's not doing anything. But I always knew that he was going to come out one day with something. And he also said the Bills owner said some things that the Bills owner denied. And I'm sitting here like, Jim Trotter is not stupid. He's not going to make these claims without proof.
He would not lie about this. He said
but he wouldn't do it without proof. This man got a smoking gun somewhere, and he's gonna bury y'all. Okay, so
the owner of the Bills said if black players don't like it here, they should go back to Africa and see how bad it is.
Yeah.
Wow.
Jim Trotter would not put that in a lawsuit without knowing for a fact it was said.
Right.
That Africa thing doesn't even hold up anymore.
But it's so MAGA. It's so MAGA that it's like, really?
Like, come on. This isn't like the 60s, dude. Like, come on.
Jim Trotter should have done that right after his contract got renewed. We appreciate you fighting the power, brother, but secure the bag. Then ruffle feathers.
Right, yeah.
In hindsight.
And the same law firm that is at who is it? Brian Flores, defending him in his suit is the same people that took on Jim Trotter's case. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
And notably, the NFL will be the last bastion of white old boys club because that's the elite of the elite of team ownership.
Yes, it is.
I mean, baseball is on par, but football, is really the elite. They don't want black owners. They showed magic that when he tried it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Like technically he is an owner of Magic because they got the Commanders, but to be that guy, to be that Jerry Jones level, there's been plenty of black billionaires who've tried and have not gotten that head seat. So
they wouldn't even let us buy BET back. They ain't trying to give us anything.
Oh yeah,
what
the most ridiculous thing I've seen.
The NFL's gonna do.
Yeah, it's like raising the price just to raise the price.
Right.
So dumb.
Yeah. Absolutely. Kudos and congratulations to director Ava DuVernay. This is in the entertainment area. The first African-American woman to win Best Director at the Sundance Film Festival. The first to be nominated for Best Director Golden Globe. Direct a film nominated for the Best Picture Oscar, and to direct a film with a budget of over $100 million. Adds another first. The first Black woman to have a film compete at the Venice Film Festival. That's Venice, Italy, not California, in its 80-year history. The movie is Origin, and it stars the incredible Ingenue Ellis, and it is the story of the incredible writer Sybil Wilkerson and her Pulitzer Prize-winning work as an author and journalist. Her last book was Caste, The Origin of Our Discontents. Warmth of Other Suns is one that I absolutely adored of hers.
Great book.
This movie received an 8-minute standing ovation following its debut at the Venice Film Festival. So good on you, Ava DuVernay. And you are going to be the first Black woman to win a director's award and I believe for the Academy Awards. Your time is coming. Yeah. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Let us, before I do, Jules, I want to talk to you a little bit about PAD. What do you know about peripheral artery disease, or PAD? It's narrowing of the peripheral arteries that carry blood away from the heart to other parts of the body. The most common type is lower extremity PAD, in which blood flow is reduced to the buttocks, the legs, and the feet. In extreme cases, it can lead to amputation. We give you the facts every day about PAD in the What You Need to Know newsletter. But please, we are inviting you to join us for an informative show with the American Heart Association expert right here, September 21st. And we will see you there and hopefully with answering your questions about peripheral artery disease. Closing out with, I'm sorry?
I'm just glad the symptoms, it said the buttocks and the lower legs, it skipped a very vital area.
It went all around.
Yeah, amputation is not an option.
No. And if there's a blood flow problem there, you might want to see somebody else. Today's jewel, don't give up. Don't give up on your dreams. You have the power to achieve them. And that goes out to all of us. We appreciate you. Guys, one more thing. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. And as we close out, you've heard us talk for the last several weeks about the exciting HBCU NY Classic taking place this weekend. That is in New York City at the MetLife Stadium, and that is Morehouse versus Albany State. Check this out.
Get ready for an epic showdown on September 16th as Morehouse and Albany State take the field for the Toyota HBCU NY Classic at MetLife Stadium.
Football season is back, and this is the game you can't miss.
Join us for the world's largest HBCU homecoming to experience the thrill of HBCU culture like never before.
Enjoy the ultimate celebration with a pregame tailgate, battle of the bands, and an iconic halftime show.
Don't wait. Get your tickets now at hbcunyclassic.com.